hearts rumbling, won't fumble it, raise it high. High time is right now, so let's shine. We go hard, one heart, one mind. This win is ours for the taking, baby, it's showtime.
Welcome into the Turn Golf Podcast. As always, I'm Andrew Putters. Special guest host with me tonight, Eric Darbo, Sweet Spot DFS, longtime friend of the program. I don't know how many times, third, fourth, fifth time. I don't know. You've been on with us talk about DFS and what we got going on this week. Joe was needing a breather. We called in the closer from the bullpen from way up north, Eric. Sweet Spot DFS. How you doing, babe?
What's going on, Mr. Putters? Nice to be on. I think this is either number 3 or 4. I'm gonna. If I was a betting man, it'd be 3. But anyways, it's always a pleasure to be on. Can't wait to talk about the Mexico Open.
Yeah. Very interesting tournament this weekend. But first, let's get some housekeeping out of the way. Turn Golf Podcast is always powered by Rotoballer.com. You see up there right above Eric's head. We got a plethora of content over there, golf. Actually, all sports, but golf is what we're talking about tonight. Rotoballer.com, best place in the world for your daily fantasy needs. We got course breakdown. We got gambling. We got DFS. We got ownership. We got models. We got Core 4. We got legends in the age of DFS and bringing on new people all the time. Rotoballer.com. Check out the premium stuff. When signing up, use the promo code TURN. Save you a little money when getting that. Thank you, Rotoballer.com, for everything you do for us here at the Turn Golf Podcast. Kids Play Free. You see it right above my head. Kids Play Free icon. What that is, guys, here in the state of Tennessee, we have a program called Kids Play Free, and it's just that if you're under 18 years old, there is a golf course in a few cities here, Middle and Chattanooga, and on the east side of the state, that we allow kids to play free through this foundation, through the Tennessee Golf Foundation, and you can help out by donating on that icon if you feel like you want to. I'm a big proponent of that, and it's growing the game in the state of Tennessee rapidly. So let's talk what we're here to talk about. Do you even want to bring up Zurich Classic or the Live Australia event this week? We can talk about as much or at least about as possible. How much did you catch of either one of them, if at all?
The only thing I caught of Live was the hole-in-one from Chase Koepka. Otherwise, other than that, I don't really tune in to the Live Golf, but at the same time, I didn't really watch a lot of Zurich over the weekend. Thursday, Friday, I work from home, so it's really easy to have that on. So I watched a lot of it Thursday, Friday, but I saw little bits here and there Saturday, Sunday while I was driving. I was listening to PGA Tour radio, so I caught a little bit of it there, but the weekend, I didn't even see the winning putt. I think I watched Xander and Patrick finish out hole 18. And then that was it. I at the time, think there was a 3-way tie for first. I didn't even see that Hardy and Riley finish at 30 until maybe 6:30 Central Standard Time. So yeah, I wasn't too invested to say the least.
Yeah, me neither. I watch a lot of golf on Thursday and Friday every week, based on my work schedule, and really, ESPN Plus is a pretty good asset to the guys that are full blown degenerates, right? So when it comes to that, I really couldn't get into this event. I wanted to really bad. I don't know if it was the weather that wasn't great there Thursday, and it just really wasn't. I couldn't get into it. The only thing I saw about the Live was the hole-in-one, and I watched it several times because there was a lot of funny things about it, especially the guy running out there and spraining his ankle and then hopping over to get a chest bump. That was hilarious. But no, and Bert Kreischer being in the crowd with his shirt off was hilarious. Other than that, that's about all I saw. But yeah, what's your thoughts on Live in general? Are you happy, sad, or are you just kind of in the golf for the DFS side and you like to play it?
So first of all, I did see the whole Bert Kreischer thing. That's awesome. Like I totally forgot about that. I forgot that that was a live thing. But yeah, that is pretty cool. I love the stadium course at the WM Phoenix Open. That's obviously iconic, but I kind of want to say a bold take. Like that's the coolest thing to happen in golf outside of like golf related stories. Um, to have something like that, that's pretty cool. And that's where I would so I'll transition to what I think about live is uh anytime that something can come in and innovate to some extent, I think is a good thing. So I personally I don't have a political stance when it comes to the whole live golf thing. I think we would all be hypocrites if we were going to nitpick at what we think is right or wrong with live golf. Um, for the golfing product, it's okay. I can't. Either they're not really marketing it that well, or they're not showing it that well. But the whole team dynamic is kind of boring. Um, Now that's my take. Maybe, someone can convince me otherwise, but I'm just not I'm not invested in the whole team dynamic. I love the logo part of it. Like that's cool. Like if you can put logos in golf and that can be put on a golf shirt to go with like the Nike symbol or Adidas or FootJoy or whatever, I think that's pretty awesome. Like you kind of can create an allegiance, or I don't even know if you want to call it that. Like if you wanted to make it your logo, your brand or something, you go out and you golf in the league tournament or whatever, or the league championship, and you kind of want to rub people the wrong way, or maybe not even that. Maybe you're just going to represent the colors that you like the most or whatever it is. I think that's kind of a cool thing about it. I mean, I don't know. What's your take on the live golf thing?
So yeah, live in general. Long story short, I thought it was kind of a joke at first, and then I just said on the podcast I was on tonight that we had Steven from Golf Digest on, and that was the week that last year when DJ signed, and it went from joke to this is something that need to be taken serious. And then I'm not big on the idea of it. However, I'm also not big on the PGA Tour stepping in doing what they did. But that's hilarious. Just corporate punishment. I don't know what you call it. But just for instance, if you're sponsored by UPS, you're not allowed to play in the FedEx Cup Championship. If you're sponsored by Visa or Discover, you're not allowed to play in the championship. However, they'll take Visa and Discover card when you're buying food at the store or whatever, down there on the club courses and stuff. But I think that's just hilarious. That kind of stuff's hilarious to me. Corporate egos getting in the way of a great product. But I do love the innovation of it. I just don't think they do a very good job of telling me. I couldn't. Only thing I know that HV3 is on Bubba's team, and that Taylor Gooch. I don't know whose team he's on. I thought I knew, but not. That's basically the only one I know whose team. I know James is on Phil's teams. The you got one of the USM. I know he's on there. Other than that, I don't know who's on whose team, but I think that could be neat. And like I said, this is not a tour. This is a league, right? This is a league. This is not a tour. And that's the difference. I feel like they're trying to do too many tour things when it needs to be a league aspect only. And I do think that they have done a pretty good job of the fan experience from what you see on TV is pretty good. And people that I've talked to that have actually went, they said the fan experience is great. However, Phoenix is awesome, right? But we don't want to see Phoenix every week. So that's my thoughts on that. The World Golf Ranking thing is going to be an issue going forward because, outside of a couple, it's going to be hard for several of them to get points. Outside of maybe a 5, unless they go, play on the DP World Tour quite a bit. And with them pulling the good players from over there to America, that's going to hurt their points as well. So I don't know. we could probably talk about. We could probably have this same conversation every week, and it be somewhat the same and somewhat different, right? So,
Right.
uh,
One thing that you kind of just mentioned there, about not wanting to see the Waste or the WM Phoenix Open every week. Would you rather see one more of those events over the Zurich Classic, or did you like the team event of the Zurich Classic?
I love a team. I love the idea of a team event, but the way they do it now is not great. The match play is way better than the Zurich Classic,
I agree.
and that I don't know if it's the format, but I told I was on Preferred Lines tonight with Joe, and I said if you want to fix Zurich Classic, put the Zurich at Austin Country Club. That might help because
Yeah.
the golf course is awesome, and that I would watch that just to see the golf course and see the way they play some of those holes, right? So
Yeah. I would say one bright spot from the Zurich Classic. I don't know. Do you watch ESPN? Like, do you watch the golf through ESPN Plus at all?
yeah, I watch a ton of it Thursday and Friday morning. That's when I
There,
watch most of my golf.
So the group that had Cantlay and Xander on Sunday, I had listened to them. I want to say Thursday or Friday. The one that had Will McKenzie. I don't remember the other two. The Kiwi. What was his name? Craig Perks. So Craig Perks with Will McKenzie, and then they had one other person. That crew was dynamite.
Yeah,
That was so much fun. I was laughing after hearing their stories, like digging up crawfish and stuff like that. That stuff was hilarious. If there was an innovation PGA Tour could get, it'd be from them. I mean, it was okay. PGA Tour, like, we don't need to listen to narratives all the time, like trying to make the next shot that more important, or
yeah.
I don't, we don't
Talking
need to be
about
so
the guy's grandmother just died this weekend, or
right.
or this is his third time that he's trying to get his tour card, and he might have
Yeah.
qualified in 2 weeks ago, or so. Yeah, I agree. Like you talking about like a Manning cast style
Yes. Yes.
PGA Tour, yeah. But then they'd have to bring in, unfortunately, we probably lost one of the best storytellers that there is, and that's Phil Mickelson. He was one of the best storytellers there was, and he would have been great in the booth, but he didn't want
I
to
mean,
bend the knee.
Flaherty.
Dave Faraday was unbelievable, yes. But I was saying Phil Mickelson in general. That he came in the booth one tournament a few years ago.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I got you. Yep.
Yeah. But I don't know. Like I said, we could talk about it every week and it'd be a different conversation, somewhat the same. Let's get into big win for Riley and Nick Hardy. Mexico Open, pretty weak field from what we've seen the last 6 weeks on PGA Tour. And I don't even know how to say this golf course. So, and I don't even have it pulled up. So this is I ran from one podcast to this one. So bear with me real quick as I
No worries.
pull up
Your golf course is Vedanta at Vallarta.
there it is. Vedanta at Vallarta, 7,500 roughly, 74 and some change, par 71. It's a resort style course. That means there's going to be wide fairways, a lot of bunkers, and big greens, right? So probably medium speed greens we're looking at this week, Eric.
Oh, yeah.
And so basically, do not be surprised if you see a couple of guys in the field hit 65, 68 greens in regulation this week. Doesn't mean they're going to shoot 20 under, but somebody will, and somebody will win. Second year this tournament's been an official PGA Tour event. I do think it's very important that we have a Mexico and a Canadian Open, and I'm glad we do. I just don't know if this is the right course for it, but who knows? I like the one that they played the World Golf Championship quite a bit because there was some pretty spicy holes with drivable par fours and whatnot. Pretty fun, but they went super low there too in Mexico City. So, I think it's John Rahm or bust week, right? What's your thoughts on the course tournament overall before we get into DFS?
I remember the course being somewhat challenging last year for a couple of the days. I can't remember if there was wind or whatever, but I remember listening to the broadcast talk about how they thought the golf course was a great course to go to. Resort style course is obviously going to offer itself up to being a low scoring event. So, that's definitely at hand. And I think all the better, like unless they make like the Mexico Open, like super challenging, I would, I guess, never mind. I was just about to say, I'd rather like see it super easy to see another birdie fest like they had at Chapultepec. But then again, I just like variety when it comes to golf. So I would like to see an easy course, a hard course, somewhere in the middle. But then what I was trying to get at was I would rather see the extremes more often than just in the middle. The course itself, I don't know. I don't have too many takes on it. I just remember listening to the broadcast last year, and they're kind of hyping it up a little bit, but you never know if that's just the PGA Tour trying to, drive a narrative or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, nothing there. This is the Jon Rahm Open. We'll see if he wants to win this event, because I was thinking about this, and I don't know what your take is on it, but Rahm, if he keeps winning this event, he has to keep coming back. I mean, it's not that he has to, but if you're going to be the defending champion, you're going to pretty much be asked to keep coming back. And is this a place he wants to always come back to?
I don't know. It's probably pretty nice down there, to be honest with you, Darbo. It's probably a pretty nice place to go stay for a week with your wife and kids. So he did make that comment. I was listening to him on a podcast talk about that. He's going to be in places that he's won at in the past, and he is a past champion. He likes that. He respects that a lot, and so like Mexico Open, Spanish Open, obviously
That's
the
fair.
Masters. He's going to be, the TP or the Torrey Pines, excuse me. He's going to be there. Places that he's won, he's going to go back to because he likes playing in tournaments that he's past champion in. I don't blame him.
Right.
If I won him, I'd be there too. But
Right.
I mean, this golf course sets up perfect for him. Last year, he won by one, but those two guys behind him that nearly caught him. He was 6 shots above those. One of those guys. They both shot 8 under to try to catch him. Kitayama, Finau, and somebody else. Davis Riley, maybe. Can't remember exactly, but fairways with huge greens, medium speed. It sounds like a Jon Rahm Open. But let's get to the slate real quick and see Jon Rahm's 12,000. You got to be all Jon Rahm or no Jon Rahm. So, in saying that, Darbo, where are you starting out? Are you all in or are you all out on Rahm?
Well, I guess the quick answer is I'm all in. I will probably. I build like 100 unique lineups all the time. I would say out of my 100 unique lineups, I'm probably building somewhere north of 75 Jon Rahm lineup. So 75% exposure for me. I just don't understand why we wouldn't. I tried to get cute, I think during the Masters or the RBC Heritage. I can't remember which one it was. And I rostered Tony Finau, and I realized, why in the heck would I roster Tony Finau? Andrew, I know you're a competitive golfer. I was kind of thinking about asking this question. That putting style that he has right now has to be completely mental, right? Like, what did you see it at the RBC Heritage or even at the Masters?
I don't remember seeing much of it at the Masters. I didn't see him at all at the RBC. What's he? Is he barely touching it with one hand?
Well, I would actually be okay with that. That was his old style. No, he bends over quite a bit. He's back to the short putter. He was rocking a longer putter for a while, but now he's back to the short putter. His arms hang down so far that his fingertips could touch his kneecaps. And he has that shaft of the putter like 45 degrees. Like, it's extremely flat. It's not upright. And then his toe is completely off the ground. Like, just the heel of his putter is touching the ground. So he's hitting putts with a toe up. And just like from that, you're going to hit more putts left unless you change the loft in your putter to try to square. I don't get it. It's a terrible putting style. It's a terrible putting stroke. He also is like trying to pop stroke it too. There's something weird going on with the putting stroke. I have no idea what it is. It's ugly. It's disgusting. I can't think of any more negative words to mention, like how bad I think his putting stroke is. It's bad. It's terrible.
I was trying to pull it up real quick. Yeah, I think he actually putted the best whenever he would barely put his right hand on the putter and just like he would have it but zero grip pressure and just let it kind of hang there. And
I think he came out with this putting style during the Genesis. So I don't know. I mean, I really haven't dug into Tony's like how good his whatever his successes are for the last month or two, but I can't imagine they're that great.
no,
Anyway,
because he hasn't been that great.
So I only mentioned Tony because it's like if you don't go Tony and you don't go Rom, then you're just building yourself an extremely balanced lineup by putting a bunch of 9K and 8K golfers in your lineup, which, I mean, you could. I don't necessarily think that the 9K and the 8K range is all that good. Like comparatively of then putting Rom in your lineup. I would rather fish for some 7 and 6K golfers to add with Rom and then sprinkle in an 8 or a 9K golfer or maybe 2 8K golfers. But I just can't come to terms with that style. I think it's like I said, it's Rom all the way for me.
Yeah, so there's some bomb, and we're going to get into this later on here when we go down the slate, but there's some players in that 6K range that I could see having a lot of success. So I don't disagree with if you play John Rahm, your average remaining 7,600. Go for it, man. Now, you're not going to be able to roster probably anybody. You might be able to roster somebody in the eights, but I mean, you're going to be pretty thin, or maybe get one choice. You're going straight to the lows to the sixes to make up for it. But I got a couple bombs in particular that I love this week. That I can't wait to tell you about later on. And one of them, I talked Joe I into a place in 1,000 to 1 on it for the week. So
Spicy.
Love it, love it this week. Love the play this week. So yeah, I wouldn't be if you've talked me into it now. I think you're got to be 100% wrong.
So
the 25 lineups are not going to unless you catch lightning in a bottle in those balance lineups, and John Rahm finishes like 8th, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, this is the strategy part of it. So if you were to go that 9 8K, you just have so many choices to choose from, where you could just limit the choices you can make. So if you're doing 25, it's obviously going to be easier making all ROM lineups that way. If you go in the 9 and 8K range, you've got a lot of choices to make. I think there are 9. Is there 9 or is it double digit 9K golfers? I can't. Let me double check. You have 8 9K. Oh, Riley, Davis Riley withdrew, so there are 8 now. There were 9.
Yeah.
And then from the 8K range, you've got 14. Now, on average, you have around 11. So we have many more 8 to 9K golfers combined that now you have a lot of choices to make. And I feel there's more upside going with Rom than doing the 8 and 9s. And by the way, I think Rom could be like 12.6 and I still would play him. Like $12,600. I'd play him at that price tag. I think that's what his price tag should be this week, by the way.
Oh, so you think we're getting a good deal on him at 12?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and there's just too many players here. Like, I'm gonna just throw out these names: Patrick Rogers, Maverick Neely, Wyndham Clark, Gary Woodland. They make a ton of sense on this golf course, but how many times have we give them a shout out in the past, and then you just come up at the week empty-handed every week? So
right.
I'm fine with saying bye-bye to all those guys. And actually, building my model, they're all off my list anyway. I'm redlining all 4 of those guys anyway. And I could see their ownership being pretty decent because I mean, if Rom's 30%, let's just say I haven't seen any numbers yet, but I think a lot more if on the 0% lineups that he is, you're going to see a bunch of people in this 9K 2 players, right? So I'm waving bye-bye to the 9K range. I'm blowing past that, and if do you have anybody that you like in particular 9K?
I I mean, I kind of joked about this on Twitter, and I'm like, Rom should always be at least $3,000 over Benny Ann, right? I wouldn't mind pairing up with Rom with Benny Ann. I also don't mind Patrick Rogers. I think this could be a week where he actually, I think he finishes inside the top 5. So I will definitely be building some Rom Rogers lineups, probably some Rom Benny Ann lineups. I honestly, I don't mind playing any of these 9K golfers. I just think these are glorified 7K golfers, and I'm going to treat them as such. Like, I'm not going to get married to a 7K golfer, so I'm going to play them sparingly, but I'll have my mixes with John Rahm.
Yeah, Benny Ann obviously is a world talent and actually has underperformed in his career since turning pro. He did go on record saying that he's taking it more serious this year, per his golf coach, getting in his ear and talking about, hey, if you want to be out here more than just the guy fighting for his tour card every year, you need to practice. And it really has shown this year. He's had a much better year than he has in the last, say, 3 or 4. And so I've been following him too. So he and ball striker, right? That's what he is. So he's my favorite player in the 9K range. However, overall, I'm still probably going to pass.
Sure.
In general, in the 9K range, he is by far my favorite, though. McNeely maybe balanced some injuries. Patrick Rogers is always a huge letdown. Clark's interesting. He'll probably have the highest ownership, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Clark and Woodland.
I would say non-ROM lineups are going straight to Clark.
Yeah.
And I think he's gotten a lot of sentiment in the DFS industry over the last few weeks. So it's fresh in people's minds, and he just had a good performance.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think most of your ownership is going to go to Clark if it's not ROM.
Right. So, yeah, I'm fine passing up there. But I do like Benny Ann, or Benny On. So, and he's a ball striker. That's what we're going to be looking at this week. 8K range, like you said, there's 14 of them. There's a couple of names in here that I like. Overall, I'll let you go first and name a couple, though. Name a few that you're green lighting.
Alex Smalley is the first that came when I don't know if I'm just kind of a fool like many other DFS players, but like since when was it? It was right before the Masters. I jumped on the Alex Smalley train, and I don't think I can get off. I like him. I also Emiliano Grillo. He was kind of like a first click. So my first click actually was ROM, and I looked at the 9K range. Usually my dummy lineup is my eyeball test lineup. I skipped the 9K range like you just did, or you said, and I put both Grillo and Smalley in my lineup. And then I just kind of like Steven Yeager interests me, Brandon Wu interests me, SH Kim interests me, but then that's it. And I don't really care about the rest.
Yeah, so Brandon Wu, obviously, he's probably going to get a little bump this week because the tie second last year, right? He's had a great year too. A lot of made cuts, and he has a bright future. But and Grillo is going to be a probably industry wide name that you're going to hear a lot of. Ball striker, can't cut. I have to imagine you're going to hear him all week if you listen to the shows. You're going to see him on Twitter all week being pushed because he's perfect for this course. The two guys, though, that I see that have especially some win equity, I'll start with that.
Okay.
And not that neither one of them has won on tour yet, but Bo Hostler hits it long but everywhere. So,
yeah.
And we know how streaky he can get with a putter. So, would it surprise you if he top 5 this week? With the way he puts the ball, and he does hit it long ways. And the other one is, Yeager has been a winner at every level except the PGA Tour. Was this his second full year with status?
I think so. Yeah.
He's made 13 to 16 cuts. Played much better this year over his rookie year, and it seemed like he's just now 30 something years old, 30. I'm pulling it up now.
33.
33 years old, and is made it to the tour at 32. So, he's always been somebody that's kind of like succeeded, but maybe later on in the game, and, won a ton on the Korn Ferry Tour. So,
Also shot a 59 on the Korn Ferry Tour.
Yep. Also went to high school in the state of Tennessee. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah.
Very cool.
He might have went to college as well.
I thought he just went. Actually, I do see that. I have
Taylor
his.
High School. He went to the same school as Luke List. He was in school with Kevin Mitchell and English. Luke List
Yeah,
was a year gone. Greatest high school team ever formed, probably.
yeah, no kidding. They
Uh,
advertise him as a German, so I thought
yeah,
he just came straight from Germany. But my information I have on my spreadsheets says from Tennessee. So
yeah, yeah. He went to UTC, I believe. Very good collegiate player too. So, yeah, and actually had the chance to win at the Knoxville Open to get his. What is the Corn Ferry Tour? Does the 3 wins in your automatic promotion?
yeah,
He had a one-shot lead going in the final round in Knoxville, and Grayson Sig beat him. Of course,
uh,
Grayson's a stud that we're waiting on to fruition too, right?
yep.
So yeah, Jaeger's got win equity, I think. So I like both of those guys, and it's that. Yeah,
I mean, if not win equity, he's got a really good DK point scoring potential.
yeah,
He
exactly.
makes birdies in bunches.
Yeah, those are the two guys I like. I love Smalley though, and to me, it seemed like that he had a lot more success last summer than we've seen this year. It seemed like it might be just that the events are a lot different this year, right? Because of
Yeah,
the elevated events, and that's so maybe throwing off what we're used to seeing, right? So, but I understand Grillo's going to get pushed too. So I
right.
don't hate it. For the first time ever in my life, I do not hate the name of Grillo in a lineup because his putting is just so bad it's hard to stomach sometimes.
That's true. But these are slow, big greens, right? You would think that probably mitigates putting to some extent.
So I'm going to ask you now. We move in the 7K range. I'm going to ask you about a golfer that we have on the never play list. But we're probably going to maybe get out maybe not a white out, but maybe just erase some of the ink. Uh, this makes sense for a Will Gordon play.
Ooh.
Even however, I think maybe is it not first or second tournament ever as a professional. He finished like T3, and we're on him anyway since he's a Vanderbilt guy. And but nothing but broken hearts since. So where are you at on Will Gordon?
To me, again, Will Gordon is like another birdies and bunches type of guy. Like for DK scoring, I do like it. And I'm always team off the tee. So I'll always weigh that higher than most people will. And Will Gordon, I'm kind of a sucker, man. I'll continue playing him. He's not on my blacklist, whitelist, whatever you want to call it. I just he's volatile, so I'll definitely keep my exposures limited. But I love the upside. I love the potential.
Okay, next player I want to ask you about. This is one of my hustle plays for the week. Joseph Brebelet bombs it off the tee. Really good player, 175 and 200 plus, which is you're going to see a lot of that this week. Birdies and bunches kind of guy. What's your story on him?
I kind of was like, I don't know if it was like 2 years ago, last year, I don't remember when, but people were hyping up Joseph Bramlett. It's like, what for? Like, he's going to be this next coming of whatever. And it's like, he just seems so inconsistent, and not even like the good inconsistent where he would pop off. It was like he was getting 40th place, 50th place finishes and then missing the like dead last. And maybe that's just my memory of it because I was probably a little bit more cynical 2 years ago, but I'm kind of liking it. Like I played a few lineups last week with him in it because I was like, I just think the potential's there. Now I couldn't tell you anything really within the last couple events that he played in because I haven't been paying attention to him. I just know the name, I know the skill set, and it's like, yeah, I don't mind playing, especially like at an event like this. I don't mind playing a Joseph Bramlett. If I'm gonna give you like, I'm just gonna be safe. I'll play him in maybe 10 to 12% of my lineups. Like, again, I build around 100 lineups, so I just not gonna have a lot of exposure to him, but I do want some.
I got you. I got one other player I'll ask about in the 7K range, and then I'll turn over the rest of the value range to you. Um, I don't even know how. Akshay Bhatia. I don't even know how to say his last name. But what's you know he's young, right?
Mhm.
He's had some success on uh, Corn Ferry Tour and now some success on the PJ Tour. He definitely pops at some events, and then but if you follow the models that I look at, I'm like, this guy's like doesn't make sense of this course, but I still was like two. He's like, God, but he's like 6,700. I got to play him. The guy's got, he's so good. And then he went out and missed the cut. I'm like, oh man, just play the events that he pops on. Well, he pops on a golf course where long irons are gonna are gonna be used, and this so he's popping for me this week. So I like him this week. Do you have enough data on him really to make an opinion yet?
I'm kind of looking at his stats right now, trying to determine if he's like a strong play, a medium play, or a weak play. I'd say he's like a medium. His birdie or better percentage in that range. He's actually the highest of all the 7K golfers with birdie or better. And he's one of the lowest when it comes to bogey avoidance. Now, I can't tell you right now how many events that takes into account because my data, when I put it on a spreadsheet, it's just one full calendar year worth of data. So couldn't tell you which events these are from, but in a weak field like this, I do not mind playing an Akshay Bhatia. Like, I'll leave it at there because I think he's a great talent, and I also think he's really aggressive when playing. And when you're building your DFS lineups, you want people. I mean, I guess I'd ask you, but for me, I want people who are gunning for eagles and birdies more than playing it safe and just trying to make a cut.
Yeah, yeah, and he definitely doesn't do that because it's literally like bust or make the. It's like bust or top 15. Right? I
Right.
mean, was he got 3 top 10s this year, and he's only made the cut in half the events he's played. So, um, yeah, I don't know. I definitely like his volatility. I guess is the right word. So,
Yep.
where else here in the 7K range are you looking to slide a few guys in?
So I don't mind going back to someone like EVR, Eric Van Rooyen. I also don't mind playing someone like Charlie Hoffman, by the way. Um, really interested in the flat 7K golfers. There's a couple of them down here. Matthias Schmid, Augusto Nunez, Austin Eckroat, Carl Yuan, and then your guy Grayson Sig. All of those guys, I could see. I mean, there's 5 of them. I wouldn't play any of them more than maybe like 14%, but with all 5 of them, almost like one of those guys will be in every single one of my lineups. So, and that's cool. I'm cool. I'm cool with that because I think these are all really good, talented golfers. I have a buddy. I used to live in Palm Springs, and I have a friend out there currently who does the caddy stuff. He went out and followed around Augusto Nunez and was like, "This guy, like, he's like he's gonna win at some point in time." Now that's obviously anecdotal, and people say that about everybody, but just kind of like watching him, I think he almost single handedly got him and Fabian Gomez. I mean, they made the cut at the Zurich, and I think he probably, if he didn't have Fabian on his team, probably would have top 10, top 20 that event, which would look a lot different now. But it doesn't look like a really good finish. They finished dead last of people who made the cut last week, but I think he's a great talent. And I'm not really going to talk about. I'll just like Gordon, Hodges, List, Bramlett. I like those guys. Batia, I don't mind going there. EVR, Hoffman, and probably those 7K golfers. Maybe Vincent Norman, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. So yeah, the 7K range, I don't mind the 7K range this week. Even Eric Cole, by the way, I passed by his name without even looking at it, with really thinking about it. But I think it's easy to build a lineup with 2 of these guys in it and feel comfortable. Like I feel just as risky playing these two guys as playing two guys in the 9K range.
Right. Okay, yeah. So moving down to 6K range, there's a lot. There's some names. This is some bomb territory, but there's some guys out here. I never go down the 6K range, and I like a few of them a lot this week. For starting at the top, he did not have the greatest of years, but Austin Smotherland at 6,900 was a winner here when it was a Corn Ferry event. So you got that. Then go a little bit of a vet way here, and Aaron Baddeley. Now if he can't get he won't be able to get his driver in trouble. So I like him here. And guy on the never playlist again. Lucas Glover's gonna hit like 70 greens this week in regulation. So if he can make like just a few putts, he'll be in the top 10. So and he's probably gonna. I think he's gonna have a lot of success this week. After that, there's two more players that I want to talk about down here, and that is the one and only 6,500 Grayson Murray. Surprisingly, scored very high in my model. He's had a less than good year, but he's very good with his long irons. That's actually the strength of his game. And so he's got great proximity numbers at 175 and above. He's very consistent even when you go longer than that. So love Grayson Sig. And my bomb, and this is going to be my long play. This is the one I taught Joe I into looking into. Wesley Bryan is not had a great year, but he is finally getting healthy, and he's making some progress. Look at it. We got one cut made. But he's kind of his brother actually went on Twitter and defended him a little bit that he's finally getting healthy and showing signs of life. And he is a decent long iron player, and he cannot get the driver in trouble here. That's probably the number one thing. He will not get in trouble off the tee with the driver on this golf course. And that is something that he struggles mightily with. He's 6,200 this week. So you'll be able to make up some money on the salary scale if you plug him in. Where are you at down here in the bomb area? And then we'll close out with some picks.
Sure. I haven't really spent too much time down here, but we have Ryan Gerard, who, is talented enough to finish inside the top 5 of an event, of a PGA Tour event, which is good enough. Like just doing it one time, not super impressive, but good enough for me to play him at least, a handful of times down here in the 6K range. I don't mind going to a Smotherman. I think he's very talented. I will stay away from Lucas Glover for the most part because, again, kind of what you had said, just echo what you said. Like he can't make a putt to save his life. Ben Taylor, he's been extremely high in my model for a long time, and I think it has a lot to do with a couple of good events that he had early on. And perhaps maybe that's why I should ignore it. But believe it or not, he's 18th in my model. Now, this week, there's very difficult things to include in a model because this is the second time we're playing this golf course at this type of tournament style. Obviously, before this, it was a WGC event. So, but Ben Taylor, for whatever reason, it just pops for me. Again, 18th, and he's $6,800. So he's, like the 60-some ranked golfer when it comes to salary. I'll still limit my exposures there. I think some bombs would be like Tano Goya. I think that would be a bomb. Martin Trainer. I've been so anti Martin Trainer for most of my podcasting, existence. I just think the guy's I did think the guy was a joke for a long period of time. Like he used to always have the worst stats when it came to PGA Tour golfers. And it's like, how is he still on tour? Like he won the Puerto Rico Open 4 years ago, and he just somehow still retains his card every single year. Last year he did okay. at this event. He finished 11th. For whatever reason, this is like the year he pops. Like, this is the time of the year he pops. So I'm kind of like talking myself onto Martin Trainer, and I feel kind of gross about it. But I don't mind Trainer. Cody Gribble, I don't mind going to him. Tyson Alexander, I can suffer along that train for another time. And that's probably all that's really worth mentioning. But I'm pretty, for lack of a better term, pretty liberal when it comes to the 6K range in general for any event. We normally see 6K golfers inside the top 10 every single week. It's a crapshoot. You just have to figure out which one will finish inside the top 10. I mean, last year, Grayson Murray, $6,100. Why he finished inside the top 20? No one was on Grayson Murray last year. Like, why would you be? So this might be a perfect week to snag up some of these 6K golfers. And I don't really know if it matters which one, honestly.
Yeah, I think the event that I took down, I had a 6,000 Eric, the guy that had the heart transplant, Eric.
Oh, yeah. Barnes?
No. Anyway, yeah, 6,000 Eric, whatever his last name is.
Starts with a C, I think, right?
Yeah.
Not Cole, but Eric something. Anyways, go.
Yeah, him, and then 6,100 David Hearn in the Canadian Open back in 2015, and they finished like third and fifth. Yeah,
Compton.
And,
Eric Compton.
Eric Compton. That's right, Eric Compton, David Hearn, 6,000 and 6,100 finished third and fifth.
That's crazy.
Very similar to this actually. I took Jason Day and Bubba Watson. They finished 1-2, and they were also the number 1-2 in the DK that week. So, yeah, I took the top two and the bottom two, and then filled in two other guys. And luckily, I finished 1, 2, 3, 5, 11, and 50th. But the 50th guy made like more birdies than anybody in the tournament. So, yeah, took down a big one then. That was way back, too many years ago. But yeah, you're right. There's going to be a 6K down there. Who's it going to be? Who may knows? But was saying that, who is your dart play of the week?
I think, God, I'm just gonna go super risky. Martin Trainer. That'll be my dart throw of the week. It doesn't make me feel comfortable, but the more I kind of think about it and I look at this, the more I'm liking it.
And what is his price point?
What's that?
What's his price point on DFS?
6,800.
6,800, right? Okay, I was going to pull him up for odds. He is, you give him 200 to 1 to win.
That feels like that number should be higher than that. Like, he should be like 400 to 1.
Probably.
I mean, he finished 11th here last year, so that's probably what's making his odds so terrible. But he's, anyways, go on.
Yeah, 6 to 1 to top 20. That's not a terrible number.
No, not at all.
Okay, my dart obviously is Wesley Bryan.
Like it.
Not necessarily going to win. I mean, he is a former winner, but I mean, we get him at 16 to 1 to top 20. That means he's probably going to be like 6 or 7 to 1 to top 40. Think about that. Get somebody like that, it's got some history. If he can just get it and play off the tee, top 40 at 6 to 1, 7 to 1. I haven't looked at those numbers yet. I don't have access to them on this website I'm at, but yeah, that would be pretty sweet. Pretty sweet little number there. That's my bomb there, or my dart play of the week. But I'm pretty sure we're already going to be pretty level on this, and I just think my heart's with. I mean, John Rahm's probably going to win this event for the second time in the second year of its PGA Tour life. What's your thoughts on where's your heart at this week on who you actually think is going to win?
Yeah, I don't even know if it's like I know the segment's heart and dart, but like I just feel so level-headed. I feel like Rahm's game where it's at right now, he could go anywhere. not really even try, like have a C game, and will be in contention to win. And I felt like that was him at the Farmers. I felt like he definitely had a C game during the last day, but
Mhm.
for the most part, he was, he was coming back from a long stretch of golf where he won two events in a row. And then he goes and almost wins a third event in a row at Torrey. So in my opinion, this guy, like, I'm not afraid of Tony Finau right underneath him. And the 9K range, it's the JV squad. So it's just like,
Yeah.
it's ROM, and it's like I just fall asleep and wake up feeling refreshed. Like I don't have any, like, it's not even a heart thing. It's just it's the right thing.
Yeah, I got you. I understand completely. That's where I'm at too. I just think it just is what it is. That's the best way we can say it. So yeah. So you've got Trainer and Rom. I'm with Rom and Brian. We'll see how that plays out. Eric, thanks again for coming on. Third, fourth time, not really sure. Sweet logo we got up there, like we talked about. Check out his podcast. He pretty much go live, I believe, just about every Wednesday night, correct?
Tuesday night.
Tuesday night.
Yep.
Tuesday night. You dive into the numbers, interactive on his YouTube channel. Check him out. You can find him at Sweet Spot DFS on Twitter. Hit him up. Give him a follow. Love his content. Love his information. Once again, thank you, Rotoballer.com, for everything you do for us. Best place in the world for your daily fantasy needs. Check out Kids Play Free for us. Help grow the game. I'm Andrew Putters. You've had Eric Darbo, Sweet Spot DFS. This is the Turn Golf Podcast.